I swore as I checked the mirror and braked hard. Just before 2 a.m. it was. When I got home, I went straight to bed as soon as I'd eaten, but I couldn't sleep. Its eyes were still there burning beneath my lids, and the sunlight pouring through the curtains made it worse. That material is far too thin and flimsy. If I worked regular night shifts, I'd get blackout blinds, but I've no time to do anything about it now. I suppose I could stick old newspapers up on the windows. I don't get one delivered myself, but there's usually a few kicking around in the waiting area. Yeah, all us drivers are confined to one corner of the warehouse now while our trucks are loaded. There are 5 plastic chairs, all spaced apart, and that's where we have to stay. After we protested to management yesterday, we now also have a single portaloo for our use. Lucky I say. Yeah. Drivers previously used to use the general staff toilets until we were banned last week. So while it's fine for the workshop's own staff to use their facilities, the drivers, for reasons unknown, are treated like lepers. We sit on our designated chairs, fenced off by a line of white hazard tape, eating our homemade sandwiches, drinking lukewarm coffee from our thermos flasks. There is a coffee machine, but now it's on the other side of the tape border, and it's reserved for packers and forklift drivers. I miss hearing the news and gossip from my friends among the warehouse workers. And I won't be able to have a chat with any of the supermarket shelf stackers when I arrive anymore either. And supper will be on my own in my cab, as cafes at services are closed. I mean, as a trucker, I'm used to spending long periods of time on my own, but now, like so many people, I don't see anyone outside of work either. I live alone in a one-room box, and most of my friends aren't yet into virtual conversations. We do Skype, but it's a bit awkward. Quickly, we run out of things to say. It's not the same as when we go for a meal in a pub or a restaurant, in a big group. Mum rang about an hour before I left this evening, even though I told her not to call during my downtime. She can't adjust to me working nights. I'd said I'd drop in any shopping she needs on my way home, but all she wanted were her bleeding lottery tickets. Can you get me 3 and a couple of scratch cards, Hannah? They won't put any of those in my food parcel, will they? I don't think it was a serious question, but you never can tell with Mum. I told her the supermarket wouldn't be open when I arrived and that I wasn't going out again later just so she could waste her money. Oh, why do people in their 80s even want to win the lottery, hey? Mum always says that she has no idea what she would spend $1 million on if she were to win. So why have her daughter risk her health for something that's pointless? Sitting here alone as the forklifts beep and distant pickers shout and laugh, and the white stag's on my mind again. When it stopped in front of my truck last night, I was certain I was going to hit it. I'm seated too high in the cab for that kind of an impact to have any damage on me. I mean, unless it's thrown into the air, of course, but knowing my stopping distance, even at only a little over 30 miles per hour, I don't think the deer stood much of a chance. It disappeared, and I feared it had gone underneath, even though I hadn't felt so much as a judder. And when I got out to take a look, nothing. There was nothing there. There was no mark on the truck, no movement in the trees, no sound of any living thing on that deserted stretch of road. The stag had melted away, as if I'd driven through a ghost. At least that meant I didn't have to write it up in the incident log. It's only since this crisis began that we've been asked to drive at night. Previously, we were used to setting out before the sun was up. But doing whole trips in the darkness, oh no, that is a new experience. No one likes to hear heavy lorries thuddering past their homes in the early hours. Or at least they didn't before empty shelves became a problem. At night, the motorway lights can become hypnotic. And with few people or cars aside from the trucks, there's not much to occupy your mind. You leave the radio on for the traffic reports and notice how the DJs struggle to find the appropriate music to play after the news. I mean, if they play anything too upbeat, it appears insensitive. Plays something downbeat and makes us feel worse. In the end, they just usually play the bland stuff. Some middle of the road music for the middle of the motorway in the middle of the night. I'd already left the motorway by the time I saw the white stag. I was delivering to a store in a village that has a winding lane with a tree canopy for several miles before you hit the high street. And that's where it happened. He stepped boldly out of the shadows of the trees. His head was held high and these huge antlers branched wider than a Christmas reindeer. In those few seconds, as he turned his head to confront my 7.5-ton lorry, he appeared utterly fearless. Taking out my phone, I search white stag and discover that there's actually quite rare. There are several species of deer in this country, but by his size, I guess he must have been a red deer. They shed those massive antlers around this time in March or early April, and they grow a completely new set by the autumn. A large white stag is also known as a white hart, as in the name of the pub, or White Hart Lane. And it says that they're surrounded by superstition and folklore. Mum's superstitious. Yeah, I'm not. Well, not usually. Though I do suddenly feel the urge to discover whether, like a black cat crossing your path, a white stag is associated with good luck or bad luck. It's mainly because of the way he looked directly at me. Those burning red eyes meeting mine like he was trying to tell me something. If any of the other drivers were here, at this moment, they wouldn't let me take this whole white stag thing seriously. You nearly hit a stag. Oh dear. That's how it'd be. Then Marcos would be telling for the umpteenth time the story of the squirrel that got trapped in his cab whilst proudly displaying the teeth marks left on his thumb. Richard, though, might be interested in the whole White Hart mythology. He has a dream catcher hanging over his windscreen and likes folk music. Catch him in the right mood and he'll talk all about water divining and ley lines. Yeah. Richard might know if it's lucky or unlucky to see a white hart. I'll text him before I leave and send him some of the links to the stuff I've just found out about them. A couple of websites mention white hart as part of the legend of Herne the Hunter. He's an antler-wearing lord of the forest who watches over the natural world. Celtic people once saw white harts as messengers from a place called the Other World, a land of spirits. My gran was from County Wexford and she was really superstitious. Perhaps that's where Mum gets her love of the lottery from. Now I clicked on a site about English folklore and it says the white hart appears at times of great turmoil and it signifies change. Well, that's certainly interesting, if at present a little unnerving. A man from a wearing a mask from a DIY shop appears and beckons from a social distance with a blue gloved hand. I think it's Steve. But it could be Dave, as they're both bald and around the same height. Either would be a friendly face in normal times. Yeah. Start to miss smiles when they're not visible. My truck is loaded, it's time to go. A white hart can lead you down new roads, the folklore website says, which to me sounds suspiciously like a detour. It can symbolise new beginnings, new knowledge, and greater understanding of the world. The white hart, it might not be the lucky black cat I was hoping for, but at least it's no prophet of doom. I'm toying with printing up a photo of one later. I could stick it up in my cab like the way people are putting pictures of rainbows up in their windows. I could, yeah, I could. And I will pop out later and buy Mum her lottery tickets. I'll go around and stick them through a letterbox. Yeah, I've decided. It's not because seeing a white hart has made me feel particularly fortunate. It's just that, you know, at the moment we all need something to believe in, whether that's family, friends, luck, or something more spiritual. In this time of uncertainty, there is one thing that I am now certain of, and that's that I am going to see the white hart again. Maybe sooner, maybe later. Somewhere down the road.